All right, also, the owner of this place, who is not very operationally connected, and I don't say that in a bad way, right? Owners, it's their prerogative. They either hire someone to run it, which this guy does, and that's fine, or they're super involved. He's not super involved. He called me last night and said one of his ice cream machines doesn't work. Okay, so this unit has a big out of order sign on it, right? But that's not the story at all. The story here is that this guy opened with 2 Taylor machines. Okay? Well, one of these Taylor machines was nothing but trouble from the get-go. He had a separate location with an extra electro-freeze machine. So we moved this electro-freeze machine over to this location, but every one of these units takes 2 3-phase outlets, right? Bang. So what you've got is you got no power to push a third machine. This isn't here because they have 6 barrels. This is here because it's out of the way from when they used this one. So if this is the one that maybe he came in and saw this out of order sign and said, well, we need to get Joe out here to fix this. Like, that's not the case. You don't have any power for it. This unit has power and runs. This unit obviously has power. Yeah. I do see a little sign here that says do not use, but how old is that? So now I'm going to start sending some texts to the manager and asking for some clarity. Okay, I haven't been able to talk with anyone, but I did get behind the machines and kind of have a recollection of what we did. This unit let me get my head on straight here. This unit is only running on one outlet. One single phase plug does both of these. This is not remote condensing. This is self-contained. So this one runs on a single. So we have 2 outlets back there. We only used one. I took the left barrel of this, ran it to that bottom outlet. The right barrel run to the top outlet, and now the left barrel of this, which drives the cabinet as well, plugged into the bottom. So I can give them 5 barrels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there's nothing in here. Now I know if I put it on clean, I can hear the beater start. If I put it on pump, I can see the pump start. So in theory, again, can't speak to the refrigeration system of this, but without completely finding the parts, reassembling it, and nope, sanitizing it, priming it, no clue where we're at on this guy. It's missing it's missing that, which that's not going to work without. Okay, so now we know they said that this machine is the one that's not working. So I'm gonna sanitize it quick. It's empty, but I'm gonna sanitize it and I'm gonna run mix through one side at a time, see what we got going on. All right, problem number 1. Look at how marred up that thing is. I can't budge it. I can't budge it. So you don't need to put these on with pliers. Just hand tighten them. That's crazy towns. Wow, it's even tough with pliers. Yeah, they're gonna, what happens is it actually ends up breaking the weld on the back side of this and unscrewing that post. Take a look at this thing. Look at them. How mangled this one is. How did they manage that? Well, the good news is They have an empty machine here. We may be able to harvest parts from. They don't use this, but yeah, not great. All right, so also just as a matter of, so there's no duck bills in any of these. We've talked about this before. A machine actually won't run without duck bills. So what the duck bill does, so right now it's drawing liquid up. Alright, so as it draws it up, when it's full, the pump's gonna stop. Well, from that line, right, back, the duck bill is a check valve. The duck bill is a check valve. Let me turn this off again. The duck bill is a check valve that keeps the water going backwards from here and draining down into the bucket. So for example, when I stop the pump, okay, as a matter of gravity, this is going to empty that water. It's going to backflow out, right? And then you're going to have, so there it is. So there's this big pocket of air. And then when they draw ice cream and the pump hits again, now we've slurped in a big pocket of air. These are going to keep tripping. You're going to go, oh, we're out of mix, and just draw them. So she's leaking when she's under pressure, okay? Let's see, is it there or is it here? It looks like it's actually leaking from here. So this is running on an internal pressure switch, and since there's a leak in here, we're gonna have to take this pump assembly apart. So as the pressure reduces from it leaking, then let's take the pump apart and see what they did. I was told that they just cleaned it, so okay, so this has not been pulled apart and properly cleaned in a long time. So they probably don't even know. They've gone through a lot of management changes here, GM changes, operation manager changes. I don't know if there's anybody here who knows how to properly clean this machine, but that ain't it. That ain't it. So I keep Taylor kits. Let me show you what that looks like. I actually wondered if it was just going to be this poppet, but the kit has everything, so we're going to change it. Okay, so listen. These kits, okay, get them from Taylor. These kits, like this is a tune-up kit, which contains multiple smaller kits, right? So, for example, there is the part number to a pump rebuild kit. Okay? And a tune-up kit will have 2 pump rebuild kits. They can come with or without blades. I stock blades solo, so I don't need to buy the ones with the blades. So you've got your door O-ring kits, and then you've got your faceplate kits, your rear beater seal gasket, your faceplate gaskets, your sheaves. We're going to change all this, but first and foremost, we're going to change this. Okay, as we make our way through, we have installed all new rings here. So this is the contents. So this is a new ring. This was in the pump rebuild kit, this new little poppet, right? There's all the old stuff. So it's like, oh, well, we've got these. Oh, this is the old one that I took off of that. We've got these. What's that all about? Well, that O-ring is the one that goes on here. I'm trying to degrease this. What was all that black grease? All that black grease was actually lube that has been burnt out. So that'll go on there. Then you got these guys and go, man, where do they go? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, we can see This guy is right here, okay? And that can be actually a little bit of a pain to get on. And then the other one is a disc sitting in there, and that's your pressure switch. All right, when it comes to remounting this, okay, so I've got the poppet in there, this pin's in, and then there's my other pin, okay? Ultimately, that's gonna slide over the front, and we're gonna attach the pump. But let me show you something. It's very important because this piston, I can manually put wherever, right? So looking at where that is, see how the hole is at the top, right? So if I put this hole at the top, there's a pin right there and there's a pinhole. So we need to do our best. What you do is you set the plastic on that first, and then you get that lined up and in there. See that? Click, and we're in. That's proper. It is possible. Let me see if I can do it. Let's see where she stops. Oh, that's pretty close. Playing roulette. I want it to stop at the very bottom. Okay, no bang. Pretty close. Okay. I have seen it where it is possible to miss. Let's see. Yep, look. Okay. So, with that pin at the bottom, I can set the piston and then boom. See how we're not in the hole? But this would let me slide it on. And you don't get to see that normally because this cover is on it. So you have to watch. Even if it's on the bottom, you can do it. But you need to set that in and then realize it's got to click onto the pin, right? And now that's correct. If you set it the other way, it can't move the piston. So as soon as that tries to run, it pops and it trips the overload on the beater or on the pump motor, which is in the side, and that's a pain. All right, so we're bringing up, we're pumping in, we're gonna let it hit pressure. So what we do here is we actually open that. That's gonna let the air out, and once this starts, then you know you're full of liquid, and you can close that. Beautiful. The crazy part is like, we go through all this, because I have to go through all this to get it running, and then like, what if you do this, and then you find out, oh, the compressor's short to ground, sorry, you're busted. I know it's not short to ground, because I pressed freeze when it was empty, just to see if it would start. And at least it didn't trip the breaker, so we shall see. But we really want to see when this hits pressure, that we're not leaking anymore. All right, so we're under pressure, we're not leaking. Click, we're good. So now we're gonna press clean. And I'll tell you why we're doing that. While we're doing that, I'm going to, I'm just going to change all these now. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to pull this side, do the same thing, clean all these hoses. Look at them, they're gross. That pulls out. That drops down, that pulls out. So I come in here to grab some mix, and yeah. Not so great. Not so great. Okay, it's very loud right now, I know. When I tried to put it in freeze, this light was flashing, which that's your low mix light. In order to make that go off, you have to press this. So it clicked, that went off, boom, she fired up, and I heard my compressor start. I don't have a clue if the refrigeration system's working well or not. But before I put gauges on, I can tell you my cabinet is getting cool. Right, definitely got cool air coming out of the cabinet. I'm cleaning the right side. I didn't want to prime this with milk and start working the left until I knew the right side was completely filled and pressurized, because if we had any leaking problems and had to take this off again, that would have been terrible. So, it's not an impossible assumption that not having the duct bills in there kept pulling air in, which kept those tripped. They wouldn't reset and the unit won't run. It literally may have been as simple as that. I can tell you I'm starting to get cold mix. Getting there. So, this side stopped and it was a little soft. So you can adjust, right? The mix cabinet, the standby temperature of the barrel, and then the shake viscosity. So, right barrel, pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. So the first time, that's actually the first time it stopped. And so we've got our beaters here. You can see it's pulled in. And we've got our compressor there. So given that's the first time it's cycled and we're looking like that, heck yeah. Beautiful. Left side, I'm sharing a bag right now. Oh, boo. Says we're freezing. I definitely expected it to be frozen. And when it was a liquid, this is what happened. Let me clean up my mess. So, well, that compressor clocked out. But it's also only sitting on 90 PSI, so. All right, so I turned this side off. So it says our compressor pulled in and the condensing fan's running, but the compressor is not. So we have a compressor problem. Now maybe because it was running, because it made me ice cream just soft, and now it's off on thermal. Okay, she just fired up. Say we got head pressure problems. Let's see what goes on here. Maybe this, maybe the AXV is jacked. We want this running down to like negative 12 degrees, wherever that comes in at 449. If it's pumping down below that, we'll see as she runs where we're at. She may be short of charge. Morning! Okay, so we've got open windings right now. We're off on thermal of some sort. I'm using my backup meter here. And so, yeah, we're open windings, which we know. Because what's weird, we're not off on a high pressure, low pressure safety. Otherwise the contactor wouldn't pull in. So this is going off on a thermal problem, which is going to equate to a new compressor. I'd like to cool it down one time. Put an amp clamp on it, see what it's pulling. So let me answer your questions so you don't waste your time suggesting things that are very smart but that I didn't show. It's a 3-phase compressor. We have good 3-phase power out of the contactor, right? So maybe we just had a bad leg of power. We're single phasing, no. Maybe we're phased wrong, no. Pressures were good, right? Maybe the charge is wrong and we're starving the compressor of refrigerant and it's overheating, no. My pressures were running spot on. Like, I mean, it leveled down to 225 and 18, which, you know, was running a negative 10 degree coil, which is where it's supposed to be sitting, to my understanding. I'm no Taylor guru, but you are. You know who you are. Yeah, so I'm pricing a compressor, but that unit's been sitting there for a long time, unused. So the pump shot, you know, it's like, how much are we gonna have to spend on this, that, and the other? But we gotta do it. So he's running on one machine, and that other Taylor is who knows what. So anyway, it is what it is. Compressor's getting solid 3-phase power. She runs for a short amount of time and then taps out. I was unable to replicate, get it started to cool it down, to put an amp clamp on it, but I'm going to go back in the next couple days. There's some other things going on at that location, so talk to you later.